Yo, hello, and welcome to the Entertainment Headquarters, and welcome to another Kaiju Collection, Kaiju Connections, classic Kaiju movie review. And the reason I'm thinking collection is because we have to talk about a collection of 3 movies. And the 3 movies that we're talking about belong to what I thought was a really great trilogy, and that is the Daimajin. So this is, for me, a trilogy that is so much underrated. It's really special. I love the world that it created. I love the characters. I love everything about it. And I've only ever seen originally just the first one, and I had to wait a while before I got to the other 2. But I've been pleasantly surprised by them. What up? We have Mr. Sci-Fi Century from the Sci-Fi Society in the house. Thanks for joining us. But also joining us, we'll have 2 amazing guests. My good friend from the Metal Tavern Radio, Mr. DJ Anubis.
Howdy.
And we now have the Kaiju Enigma, Mr. Jake Hall. So, Mr. DJ Anubis, can you remember your first time seeing the Daimajin?
Yeah, so I think the very first one I probably saw when I was like a young kid. So around the same time that I started seeing Godzilla and Gamera and stuff like that, getting into the giant monster movies. I remember just turning on the TV one day, and this is back when you actually had to turn the knob, like there's no remotes. So I remember having something on like this first Daimajin film, and like I was like, wow, this is so crazy cool. And then over the years, like I kind of forgot about it. Like I just forgot the name, forgot like, just because there's so much other stuff going on in your life. And then probably about 5 or 6 years ago, when Tubi really started becoming a thing, you start seeing these films pop up on there a lot. And it showed up, and I recognized the cover. I said, "Oh, I remember this, and this looks really cool." So then I learned like there was a couple other films to the series. So I ended up watching those back then. And then, of course, rewatching them for this here. But, the cool thing about this trilogy is that you don't necessarily have to watch them in order. Like you could literally watch them as standalone films because they all have their own thing that's going on, even though they're all similar in plot. But you don't have to watch like the first one to get the second one or the third one. They can just watch whatever you want. And actually, it's funny because I watched Return and Wrath first before I went and found a stream for the first one. And it's funny how this first one is so much darker and scarier than the other ones, which is kind of interesting. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. And like you say, the great thing about this trilogy of movies is they're like an anthology series where they've got the base, they've got one connection, which is the character of this godlike being that uses very much this statue that comes alive as like its avatar to create destruction against those that have wronged him. But the stories don't have any connection in terms of there's no returning characters from previous movies. It's all set in different locations in different places, but they've all got that one unique connection, which of course is the Daimajin. Jake Hall, can you remember your first time seeing this film?
Well, the first time I watched the first one, my brother had the TV on, and it was on a random channel back when we had the square box TVs, and I don't remember what channel it was, but this film was on, and I was intrigued. And then when I saw this giant statue, like wreaking havoc, I was like, interesting. And it wasn't until years later when I first got the DVD of the Daimajin by ADV Films when I rewatched, and I was like, "Oh, I remember the first one." But it's interesting with the other two because watching the DVD versions of this one for Return and Wrath,
Mhm.
I always thought the Wrath one was the one where where Daimajin was on the island, and then it was the other one. But when they redid it and re-released them, with the other Blu-rays and this, it's actually the one where they're in the snowy mountains, where that one's technically the last one of Wrath of Daimon.
Yes.
So I enjoyed all these films,
Mhm.
and even though they do have similar stories, they're in different elements of each one. So I thought that was very unique for this trilogy anthology.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Um, let's look into it. So, Damaging is a Japanese series centered on an anonymous, fictitious giant warrior god. It initially consists of a film trilogy shot simultaneously and released in 1966 with 3 different directors and predominantly the same crew. The series was produced by Daiei Films and contained similar plot structures involving villages being overthrown by warlords, leading to the villagers attempting to reach out to Daimajin, the great demon god, to save them. So this is the first movie, which is Daimajin, which, as you stated, is a darker film, Anubis. This one basically has where there's this villaged kingdom, and suddenly, this enemy comes into there's like somebody who works for the peaceful like ruler, empire, or lord, and he's got somebody that works for him who basically plots with an outside lord to overthrow the village kingdom, and that end up having to fight the way out. But the Lord unfortunately meets a grisly end, and that is when I guess his best soldier takes his 2 young children and takes them into the mountains to save their lives, to hide them away, to hopefully one day when they reach maturity, they'll be able to come back and battle the Lord who overthrew them to save the village and their kingdom in the future.
Yeah.
So, Jake, what's your feelings about the first movie and its overall plot?
It was a very dark but good story film. The guardian of the Lord who took children to be in the mountains with the aunt who was I guess you could say witch, or I can't think of the other word, but
Sorcerer.
sorcerer, and she's trying to convince the evil lord that if he doesn't change his ways, then he's going to upset the evil god, which unfortunately he doesn't listen. He ends up cutting her down, places a curse on him, which was funny with the little with her black teeth and all. Ooh. Yep, her black teeth, and the guardian ends up. Go ahead.
Yes, I was just going to say these are our 4 main leads. So the young girl is called Koza. She is the daughter. She's like the princess. Then you have Tadafumi, who is the prince. And then you have Conjeta, who is, of course,
Congenta.
Kojenta. He is the warrior who saved them when they were young and takes them to the mountains. And that is Shinobu. She is the priestess. And, of course, the villain is Samazuki.
Samazuki.
He is the overlord. Yes, who overthrew them. And like you see in the beginning, you have them in the mountains as young children with Ojenda, and the priestess is like trying to warn the overthrower that you need to free the village, you need to not tread further, or the god of the mountain is going to, get revenge on you. Because apparently the spirit of this god resides within the local mountain above the village.
Yep, and of course they try to go destroy it, and they can't do it. So they decide to try to put a spike to see if that helps. Oh no, blood starts trickling down, and then the ground starts to shake, lightning, thunder. Everyone ends up dying, and then the young prince or the young lord that's supposed to take over, and the bodyguard, they both get captured. Of course, the bodyguard gets tortured, gets burnt with a hot poker. You see all the blisters and all that. And then
100% true.
But anyway, so the young princess is trying to plead with the god to help her brother and the guardian. Well, she's like, well, I'll sacrifice myself for you if you go help him. Well, as she's trying to do that, a young boy who's been like a spy for the workers who've been working for the evil, I already forgot the dude's name now, but
the bad guy.
Yeah, the bad guy. There we go.
We'll just call him Saman.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, the little boy is called. I know it says Take, but I'm sure it's going to be pronounced Taki. So
it's Taki. I think it is Taki.
Yeah, so Taki's trying to prevent her from like jumping off the waterfall and all of that. And then the mountain shakes, comes up, and the music.
I do, just real quickly, I do love the positioning of the statue of Daimajin in this film as opposed to the other. The others are fine, but this one where it's like above the waterfall, I really love that location. It's a nice shot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then once he steps, the music plays. I love the score to that. I love his theme song. And then as he's standing over, he takes one hand, unlike the other two where it's two, and he just does this like, and then you see the green face, menacing looking.
The reveal. He's pissed off.
Yeah. When that happens, you know shit is gonna go down.
Yep. So he ends up going to the village, ends up destroying everything, killing everyone that's in his path, even some of the good people. He gets the bad guy trapped in a building. He's like, turns around, gets grabbed by the giant hand, sitting here just carrying him, then takes the spike. You don't see it, and then somehow magically it turns the other way and right in the heart. And then after that, he continues on his ways. The young lord tries to say, stop, stop. Even Taki tries to present it, but doesn't prevail. It isn't until the girl goes over Taki, and that's when he stops.
because the god that's now in the Daimajin statue, he's so irate of like the disrespect from this lord and his his soldiers. He then actually starts attacking the village after he's killed the lord, and then
Yep.
she has to basically plead with him to stop the rampage.
Yep, and then he ends up crumbling, and that's how the movie ends.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed this first film. It was real good.
Mm-hmm.
I would go ahead and give it a I'll give it 10 out of 10. Why not?
Easily.
Mm-hmm. And some of the scenes in this movie is brilliant, like the destruction, just the sheer glances that you got of the Daimajin. It just really, it's so unique and different to what we've had in like the kaiju movies.
Oh yeah.
I love that scene right
even
there
though I
too.
love,
She's on the cross.
yeah, like I love me kaiju movies, but these particular movies, there's something unique and different because it's a mixture of kaiju movies and classic samurai movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, see the whole like scenery that you see throughout the movies, on top of seeing the scenery from the movies, it's like you see the Akira Ifube, who does a lot of the Godzilla music, the score for this, and you can very much feel his presence throughout the course of the movie.
Oh yeah.
So this definitely gets like a 10 out of 10. Like you see, for me, because I like the Dark Tooth, and I love how the evil Lord, got his comeuppance at the end, where he told he's meant to go up to the waterfall to find the statue to destroy it, and the stick, that pipe in the top of his head, like the steel spike, and he actually uses it to plunge into the chest of the Lord who caused all this pain and damage, and he got his come up, and that's one thing you'll find throughout the theme of each of these movies. Whoever the villain is meets a very gruesome end.
Yeah, and
Yep.
again, like this one is like much darker because, and there's something else with this one where we talked about off screen how we would like to see like a reimagining or a updated version of this film or even series if they chose to go that far. But the thing is, like, the thing I like about this one is you see some, like, at some point you see like these wraiths that form like in spirits around him. Like the thing about Daimajin is that he has like certain powers, but most of them we see are in this film. We don't really see him too much in the other two. But I like the aspect that they bring into this where he's just kind of like, as unlike the other two films, he's more, like you said, more darker. He's not really caring about who he's killing. It's like he's just got wrath and anger, and he's really just kind of like sending a message to everybody, like, you really fucked up my statue and everything. So now I'm gonna tear this place up. But the other two films are a little bit more like he sides more with the people that actually worship him and actually do good and whatnot. But the one common thing about all these films is, and I also kind of like and dislike it, but the idea is that in order to really to get Daimajin to step up, like there has to be a sacrifice, and each film has their own sacrifice that somebody makes in order to get him to kind of like step out of the come alive and do his revenge or avenging force. So but this one was the best one in terms of just like just total like mayhem. He just was like all over the place and actually acts like a true god almost in a lot of ways, because it's like, yeah, he's got his followers, but it's like he's almost like annoyed by people, humans,
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how he does that.
So yes, he does crumble after he's totally wiped out an entire village. But you need to remember, the whole thing about the Daimajin is the vessel to a god that lives in the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, no, spirits don't take control of it, but he has different powers that he can use, whether it's like I know in one movie, I think it's the third one, the bad guy is trying to get away on a boat, and he's literally could get away with him, but he's like turning him around and bringing him back. So he has different things he can do, but we don't really see it showcased too often, except for this first film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like you see, I like the fact this is dark, and I wouldn't. Obviously, another thing I see about this one, like you said, the villagers or whoever the good people are, they're more siding with Daimajin, and Daimajin's more sympathetic and does a lot more to protect them. Where in this one, he was more like just a god doing things for himself. He didn't really care about the people. You know,
Right.
the bad guys literally went up and stuck a spike into his you know, his
And the funny thing is,
forehead.
yeah, I think they were trying to in this film to make it to the point that it's almost like Godzilla 54. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and even though Godzilla 54 is far more darker, they just were trying to set it up to where, you know, this thing was just wrath. And so, like, you know, it's just a god teaching a lesson to everybody and also teaching a lesson to his followers. However, we also saw in the next two films that they were sort of making him like the good Godzilla guy, you know, the guy that's going to save the day and take care of business. So it's kind of interesting how they approach that, or even I guess it'd be more from the Gamera standpoint, because the first Gamera film I think is also very much like this film. You know, Gamera wasn't really good or bad; he was just there.
Mm-hmm. So basically, if you had watched the movies, you would have discovered that there is a god that lives within the foundations of this mountain that oversees a village. And the village gets overthrown by this evil warlord. The warlord decides to tear down the statue that is above a waterfall above the village, which angers the god within inside the mountain. So then the god then puts his spirit or put elements of himself into the statue, brings it alive, and then it goes rampaging around the village. And then it grabs the main evil lord, sticks him onto the wall, and then pulls out the spike that they put into his head, and he sticks it directly into the heart of the evil warlord. Good shit, really good, dark, fantasy, samurai. You know, if you love things like Blue Eye Samurai, you'll love this. So, great movie, 10 out of 10. So, this leads me to the second movie, which is called The Return of Daimajin. Now, even the poster looks lighter than the second movie. And the great thing I do think I like about each film is that it isn't set in the same location, and that each village, it places the statue in a different place, and there's different ways that the statue can come alive, and you know, it does different things throughout each movie. So the first movie, the statue is placed above a waterfall above the village. This one, the statue is placed on an island and is worshipped by the people of a village. And just like the first movie, the plot is very similar, where you have another warlord who is already taking control of one village, and they know he's coming to another village, so somebody escapes and goes to warn the second village. But the time he warns them, they're already on the way, and they cause chaos when they get there. So these are your main characters of the second movie. in this lovely lady, which definitely has to be a tribute to King Kong in many, many ways, is the lady that was placed on the cross, which got set alight at the end of the movie. So, Jake, would you like to talk me through this one? Since you are the Kaiju Enigma.
Oh Lord, I'll do my best because I just recently watched these yesterday. Of course, I've seen them multiple times, but it's been a while since I've watched them, so I'll do my best. A group of guys who act like they're, not doing well and having trouble with life, come to Lord Jiro's name. I remember the character's name, main character's name, uh, Lord Jiro, and his. I don't know if it was her sister or just future wife. I guess I could say they're having a celebration, and these three gentlemen who acting like they're poor and all that are having troubles. They're trying to convince them that hey, we need a place to stay and all that, or put up for the night. Well, he allows it, even though in a bundle of hay, the evil lord that's on the way has already had henchmen in these bundles of hay.
Haystacks. Yeah.
Haystacks. So they start coming out and all that, and then all hell breaks loose. Everyone's fighting, and the evil lord arrives. But the other one is trying to, create peace, like say, stop the fighting and all that. Don't do anything. And he's trying to convince him. But the Lord wants Jiro. Well, Jiro's nowhere to be found, so he's in hiding. So they also just they're still talking, and one of the guys made a jump, and the Lord turns around. Evil Lord just stabs him in the back with a spear. While on an island, on the God's Island,
he gets stabbed, and him with the bald head and the mustache, he got stabbed.
No, not that one. He survived. He's the one that got tied up along with Jiro and them at the end. But I'll get to that. So while that's happening on the God Island, the young lady and her chubby bodyguard, I'm gonna say that because I don't know I can't remember his name.
Chunky. Just call him Chunky.
Chunky. As long as he doesn't do the truffle shuffle. But they're on the island to pay their respects, all that. Well, the statue's face starts turning red, indicating that it's very angry right now, and they're trying to do everything to please it. Well, that didn't go
Also, when the face shows red, it's also a sign of a warning to the people that something's about to happen. So that's something else that never happened in the first one, where nothing really happens until the statue itself was harmed. Where this one, the statue is showing signs that it's actively trying to help and warn the village that something terrible is about to happen.
Yep. Oh, I gotta reposition. So after that, all hell's still breaking loose on that. Jiro ends up escaping. I can't remember how. I think it's through an underground tunnel. But the henchmen end up going to the island, and they're trying to seize everyone, all that. And they're like, what is this statue? Let's destroy it. So
famous last words.
Yeah. So they take dynamite and lit it. Well, the caretaker of the island who rings the big gong or the bell that sounds like a
Actually,
gong.
yeah, I love that bell. That bell's awesome.
Oh yeah, I did too. It always made me think of the Undertaker. Just the sound alone.
Yeah.
That's how Daimajin enters.
And
Yes.
it's so eerie too. It's so eerie.
Oh yeah. So the caretaker's trying to stop it, but he ends up getting killed. And the bell ends up getting destroyed as well. It falls off because they throw it off. But they also blow up Daimajin, blows up into a million, well, not million, but a few pieces. And because of that, the water starts bubbling, everything goes weary, and then everything just stops. Everybody's like, oh, there's your precious God. So,
Yes.
and later, a little bit later on, after they're doing all of that, Jiro is starting to head towards the island, and the princess or future princess, before the bell got destroyed, tries to warn him. I know I'm all over the place, but
It's okay.
she rings the gong. They try to escape the other henchmen. Well, water starts bubbling. They start going topsy turvy, spinning around. They're like, and one of them, because they're going to try to execute the somewhat bald guy. After the kid hits him with a pebble, which I thought that was funny. He's like, "You little brat," fixing to
Yeah.
chase him, and then he sees the boat of the henchman that has a piece of the statue in its, like, right below the heart, but almost near the heart. And he's like, "Oh, he's dead." So Jiro ends up seeing the princess, her future wife, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. So they end up being surrounded by all the henchmen in the water. Guys like, Jiro, you're surrounded. There's no escape for you. So they tie each one of them up, but they put the girl, like in the picture, on the cross. And the evil lord is like, where's your God now?
Yeah.
And then issues to go ahead and burn underneath the cross. Well, as that's happened, she makes a prayer to the God saying, I'm willing to sacrifice myself. And then while some of the henchmen are still on the island, water starts boiling, bubbling, and then the statue rises and the music plays. And then
Yep.
that yep.
Shit's gonna kill off.
It's pissed off time.
I was gonna say it's more for time.
Yeah, well, he that expression never changes. Like he's always pissed.
Oh no. So once he rises out of the water, he sees the other boat, destroys them, and then he parts the water or the lake, kind of like Jesus did, and then he starts walking. And I love how they did the sound effects for the footsteps, as it's like first.
Yeah. And I love
Thank
how
you.
like all the samurai are like looking around like, what is that?
Oh yeah, they're like, they hear the noise and they're like, the hell? What is that? And then Majin just busts through the wall, sees everybody. Everybody's like, run for your lives. Runs. Then he comes up to the girl.
Get to the chopper.
Looks up
Like
at the
this
girl.
film, I'll be honest, this film's got a mixture of King Kong when she's tied to the cross and he's trying to set her alight. It's got a mixture of the Ten Commandments where Moses moves the water when he has to go through. And then, of course, like you see, it's got element of a Clash of the Titans when he rises from the water like the Kraken.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he grabs the thing, rips it off, and just sets her gently down on the ground, unlike he did.
In the first movie, he probably used her like a bat, start like hitting people.
Which was funny because he grabs the top when the future Lord is on there. He's just like, and just throws him down like not give a damn. But he sets her down gently and then starts going after the evil Lord. And they try everything to stop him, even using barrels to blow him up. All that. And it's like, we got him. And then it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, continue to run. And everybody dies, but he tries to escape, like you said, on the boat. He's like, Majin goes into the water, just stands real still, uses his power, starts spinning him. He gets tied up in the sail strings. And then between the legs, no pun intended, he shoots a
Fucking hell, Jake's going R-rated.
Yeah, X-rated. The adult version of Jake.
So
we've only tried to get it out of you for 2 fucking years.
So jet stream of flames just goes straight to the boat. Boat's set on fire, and he burns along with the boat. And then it ends with him turning around, looking at the girl. Girl's like, "Thank you," and all that. Teardrop comes down, hits the water, and then transforms back to the blank expression, and then solidifies to water, and then just slowly dissipates. And then the way it ends is that they're celebrating, and then all of a sudden you hear, "Go!"
Yeah.
Go!
Yeah. And the sound of the bells coming from underneath the water.
Yep.
So it's like the burial place now. The statues now beneath the water. So the great thing is, like I see, this film was very, for me, yes, it's similar storyline, but it's also unique and different.
Yep. I think this one, because I still like the first one better. This one was good. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, even though it's similar in story, but it's still up there with the first one in a way. So I still give it a 9.5 out of 10. Not slightly a 10 out of 10, but close.
What about you, Anubis? What's your feelings of the second movie?
I agree similar to Jake. I mean, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Like it's still up there and not quite as good as the first, but it's still pretty good. I really like the story and the way it played out was pretty good. So it's still pretty good. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, that's why I like these movies, because it's like, yes, it's a trilogy, but it's like an anthology trilogy where the main focus is seeing the story come together for the Daimajin to be released from the god to then release himself from the mountain to like revenge those that are causing them anger. But at the same time, through each film, you see a different side of the god. So the first one, we're kind of just seeing him go on a rampage. This one we saw some of his abilities, like you see the fireball that came from his leg and hit the boat and set it alight. We've seen him disappear. I also remember that scene where Chunky, no, it wasn't Chunky, it was the guy from the other village was on the boat and they were getting surrounded. And suddenly you could hear noises and there was something beneath the water and it was clearly the god, and it pulls the boat underneath the water. I thought, see, these were like signs to show that even though you never seen the Daimajin, that was probably not the Daimajin, but it might have been just the spirit of this demon god that decided to strike against, the people and sink the boat beneath the water. So, because you need to remember, the main focus is the god uses the Daimajin as, I guess, his avatar, which in the next movie we're introduced to another avatar. But definitely unique. I would say this is my least favorite of the trilogy. But I would still say it's an 8 out of 10 for me.
Fucking idiot.
So, and just like you said to me once, I have got taste.
Yeah, I just always busted your balls ever since that wreck fucking review. It's the fucking funniest thing. Oh my God.
Idiots.
Yeah, that shit was so funny. Anthony and I could not stop laughing.
So here we are. We are here with the third entry. This is called Wrath of the Daimajin. And this
Hedwig.
is this is my favorite poster because I like the snowy mountains and like the snow effect that they showed with the Daimajin over the course of this movie. Like you see, it's another setting, it's another location, but this time you actually get to witness more of the god's abilities, because this movie starts out where you're starting to see like the ground being broken up by like a foot. You start to see snowfalls. You're seeing hands punching the air. So basically, this Daimajin in this movie, he lives on the mountain of the Daimajin, which is a sacred mountain nobody needs to cross because it's his domain. No one's allowed on the mountain. And yes, I guess the events that you see transpire with the lightning and the snow and the storms and the wind, it takes place many years ago, and it's basically the Daimajin showcasing his abilities and his powers. Once that happens, it then skips forward a few years later, where I guess his legacies, not that it's weird, but there's like there are certain people that don't believe in the Daimajin. And just like the previous two films, you have this warlord who he's taken people from different villages to use them to build something and to build, sulfur mines and all of this. And there's these people who are experted loggers who, are great with wood, who can build things with wood. They all get basically abducted and are forced into labor to continue building this big something for this warlord. But one of them escapes, and the only way he's able to escape is to go over the Daimajin mountain. And he returns to the village and tells the people of the events that are happening, that they've been kidnapped, that they're being forced into labor, and then he suddenly passes away after explaining how he escaped was via climbing the Daimajin mountain. And he also believes because he went across the mountain, that is why he's died, because he's, this is the wrath of the Daimajin. Once that happens, we are introduced to our main cast, which when I first started watching it, I thought, oh God, we have to have children.
Yeah.
Why do I have to have kids?
Why, God? Why? Oh, because it's Dae and Gamera. That's why.
Yep. But they had the balls to do something in this movie because one of the kids dies.
Yeah, that could be a problem, though.
So what basically happens is the kids are listening to and they discover that their fathers, who are these loggers, have been kidnapped and are being, held captive. So they decide to agree to climb the mountain to get to the other side to rescue their dad, their parents or family members. And halfway up the mountain, there's four young boys. I forgot all the names, but you basically got the leader. You've got like the tall, slow one, the quick one, and then you've got the younger brother. And halfway up the mountain, when they get there, they bump into some lady that tells them you can't go past because you'll gain the wrath of the Daimajin, and also the Daimajin's avatar is watching the mountain to protect it. In the Daimajin's avatar that watches the mountain is in the shape of a hawk. He's like his beloved pet. And as the plot progresses, they ignore this lady who we never see again, which I thought she would have returned in some shape. Because at the end of the day, how can this little old lady protect like the mountain? But she disappears. I'm assuming she was like the lady from the first movie, some sort of priestess.
Yeah.
But as the events transpire, they're trying to get over the mountain. They bump into some of the soldiers that work for this warlord who's got the pair. And it's basically like the Goonies. They basically outsmart these different, people. They even steal the food. They even stop them from getting over like a bridge that they had built.
The little one shoots arrows into the legs, which I thought was funny. I was like, damn, for a little kid, he has accurate shot. Leg shot.
No shit.
Leg shot. It's like, oh.
He's better than most of the big guys.
And then you get to one point in the movie where all this is happening, that, the people who are being captive are trying to plot their escape. Then you've got the parents of the villagers of the that have realized the kids are missing, are like, shit, we're going to have to go and rescue the kids. And they start climbing up to the mountain. And you get to this point in the movie as well where they're at the water. And shit goes down, which really shocked me. Where, they were at the water and they fall into the water and some of them are rescued. But one of them decides, and I'm going to sacrifice myself to save the little one. And you actually just see his body float down the river.
Yeah. I think it was that one in the front that sacrificed himself.
Yeah. So Hollywood, take note, because you're a chicken shit. Like, if back in the 1960s they can do films like this. Now imagine if they did the Goonies and one of them died. If they actually killed one of the kids off.
And keep in mind, they're not getting explicit. Like, it's nothing gory or anything. It's just it has a kid dying.
Yeah, he literally like says, right, I'm going to save the youngest child. I'm going to sacrifice myself. And all you basically see, he just falls off the end of like the bit of the side, and you just see him floating down the river. Which really shocked me that they actually had the balls to do that. But I think Japanese cinema aren't frightened to take risks. Now, if you've recently seen another film that's on Netflix, it's made by the The Shadow That Strays, I think it's called. Now, that is just balls to the wall full of violence. And there's actually a scene in there where you see a kid get shot to death. And they don't shy away from it. So, different world and over in Japan.
Yeah.
But that shocked me. And after those events happen, the kids are exhausted. They're literally physically exhausted, trying to find the parent. And suddenly, the people that are after them find them and are planning on killing them by shooting them. Suddenly, the avatar of the Daimajin sees them, and he decides to protect them. And he dives down twice and takes out the eyes of two of the people with the gun. But the third guy, who's like the leader, shoots the hawk. But before it dies, it literally flies in and takes out the third member. And the young boy leader decides, because it had been snow, and decided to bury the hawk in the snow out of respect. And because they're physically exhausted, the weather is horrendous, because it says if you cross the Daimajin's mountain, he will release a snowstorm as punishment. And kind of these are the events that have transpired. And the younger brother and the best friend, I guess, are physically exhausted. So they end up falling asleep, dying asleep. So the leader, the boy leader, decides to save his friend, just like the woman in the second one decides, I'm going to sacrifice myself. So he ends up jumping off a cliff into the snow. But of course, we do see when the Daimajin's avatar is killed, and you see the blood trickling from it. You see the statue, and the blood's trickling from the same area as the hawk's being killed. So what does that do? When the family's passing the little statue on the hilltop, that's right.
Morphin time!
It's morphin time. It's time to kick some ass and pissed
It's
off.
clobber time.
Mm-hmm. And something else happens in this point that we didn't see before, in the other two, in many ways, is once he's woken up, there's a golden glow surrounds him, and he suddenly disappears. So he literally has the power of teleportation.
Instant transmission.
Yeah. So he teleports himself off the mountain closer to where the enemy warlord is. And he suddenly comes out from the snow. But he isn't just coming out of the snow. He comes out of his snow holding the kid leader in his arms and places him back onto the ground. And he basically saves his life. I don't know if he saves his life or he brings him back from the dead.
Probably brings him back from the dead.
Yeah, I think he does that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sort of the thing with the Daimajin. Again, like each film has where somebody's sacrificing themselves or attempting to, and then the Daimajin sort of like grants them, life or whatever, because he understands the sacrifice they make. But that's sort of what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, G. Cole, do you want to finish this off for?
Sure, why not? So after he grabs the boy and sets him gently down, as the other two wake up, because they're like, "Oh, what the hell happened?" He's like, "Where's my brother?" "Oh, there he is. Let's go get him." Daimajin starts walking towards where the sulfur mines are. And again, everybody's like, "I'm gonna throw you in the sulfur pit." And they're fighting, and the dad that had the two wooden dolls, the evil henchman, just like, "Oh, were these yours?" Kick them into the sulfur pit. And then next thing you know, you hear, "Eh!" Everybody's like, "What the hell?" Looks up, sees the hawk, and then they hear, and then the music is playing, and then he busts down the wall, starts going after everybody, while the father and his pals are like covered down, ducking. Everybody's like, "Run, run! This way, my lord! This way, my lord!" And they're trying to hide like in bunkers, all of that, but no matter where they hide, "Hi, nice to see you." Just standing there looking down with the menacing look, and then the big eyes. And they try everything, even try to block him with the logs because they're good with the logs. Uh, Pretty much all of them die, and then he grabs the evil lord and pulls out his sword, or I guess you could say dagger. And yep, I forgot about that one. Haha. Here, squishy,
Squishy.
squishy. Squishes that guy. And he pulls out his tiny sword dagger and just turns it around and stabs him.
Yeah.
And then pulls it out. Bad guy falls into I think he fell into the sulfur pit.
Yeah.
He does. He does. And as he falls into the pit, earlier on when the dad had carved them two statues, the evil lord hide them into the sulfur, which they would have melted because it's acid.
Yeah.
But when the evil lord sunk into the water, suddenly them two wooden statues popped back up, which in reality wouldn't have happened because sulfur's like acid; it would have just melted them.
Yep.
So the ending of this one was very with the villain was similar ending to the first ending of the first movie with the villain, where he basically stuck him onto the wall with the iron spike.
Yeah.
Except this time he stabs him with his sword and he drops him into the sulfur. And I think this was the first time we're actually actively seeing the Daimajin, I think, use his sword.
Yes. And I like also the scene where he uses it, just chunks it and breaks part of the mountain, and it just implodes.
Yeah.
But at the end, the kids find their dads, all that, start hugging them, and then they look towards, and again, like that, and then Daimajin does his back to normal face, and then turns to ice, and then blows away, pretty much.
Yes.
And that's how it ends.
Yes. This for me, to be honest, when I first watched this, I was thinking, oh fucking hell, kids. But actually the kids weren't annoying. They actually really enhanced the story, and it was nice to see a kid focused story where they actually didn't just give them a shitty story. And the fact that one of the kids died, and they didn't shy away from that, and another kid sacrificed himself to save his sibling and his best friend, and it was all about just trying to save his family, his father. I really enjoyed this, and we're also seeing another side of the Daimajin, like how the first one, as I said before, he wasn't like an anti-hero. He wasn't a hero or a villain because he went on that rampage in the village. The second movie was definitely more of a hero. This one, I think he was more of an anti-hero because at the beginning you see his wrath on the mountain. If anyone, went onto the mountain, which they were sworn not to do because it's a sacred space, in whether you're a man, a child, he would release his wrath, like the snowstorms, the winds, and then at the end, out of the respect that the child sacrificed himself, he then decided, you know what, I'm going to help the kid, bring him back to life and save his family. But he also wanted revenge because his avatar had been killed. I also found it strange because I assumed because when he brought the boy back to life, he brought his avatar back to life. And you had the young brother saying, you know, how the other boy had died in the river. I just assumed that they would have done a U-turn where the one who died in the river would be brought back to life, and he doesn't get brought back to life at the end. They actually keep him dead, which really shocked and surprised me, especially, you see, it's Dai. So the fact that Dai are willing to go dark and to stay dark, I thought was a massive change to what we've seen. Because I don't even think we've had kid characters killed in the Toho Godzilla series, apart from maybe 1954, where you see that scene in the church and in the school where you've got like all the kids crying, and you have the kids choir singing that really ghostly song. That's as dark as I've seen it get. So, what's your overall opinion of the third movie, DJ Anubis?
Well, it's definitely my least favorite of the bunch. But it's still a decent movie. Like, there's no problems with it really that much. The kids are more tolerable in this one, but they're still kind of like the problem for me. I have no problem with the kid that, like, you know, ended up drowning, because that's like a normal thing that would happen while they're trying to go on their journey. So stuff like that would happen. But I had a hard time believing that a young kid's going to jump off a cliff, you know, into the snow to sacrifice himself. I didn't really find that very believable at all. But, you know, other than that, the movie's still decent, but this one's more of like an 8 out of 10 for me compared to the other two.
See, I like the ending in it. I like the action at the end. I like the snow scenes with them in the snow, the Daimajins crossing through the mountains. And I like the fact the effects where they actually showed he was covered in snow. And like you see, he knocked part of the mountain down. He was going through things. I just like those elements of it. It just adds for me more the mystery to the character of the Daimajin. Mr. J. Cole.
I enjoyed this film. It definitely tripped me out when the kid jumped off the cliff. I was not expecting that. Like you, I was tripped out that the boy drowned in the water. All in all, good story. Love the use of the hawk and how the Daimajin came to life. All in all, I give it a solid 9 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I really did.
So in all, would you say this is a strong trilogy? Would you say that this is a worthy trilogy? Because, you know, you get a lot of people, a lot of trilogies where you get one film that's not the best, or you get some trilogy where the first one's always the best and the last one's the worst. Where I don't think there's a bad film in the bunch. Yeah, I feel as if it's a strong trilogy. In each film, adds to the mystery and the legacy of the Daimajin.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would say, all in all, the whole trilogy. For the whole trilogy, I'd give it a 9.5 for the whole thing. Because each one has a strong presence. The first one really dark, 10 out of 10. Second one was a 9.5 for me and a 9, so I would give it a 9.5 total for the trilogy.
Strong.
I mean, like, you know, these films are a product of their time. So despite their budgets and everything, if you imagine, because I know at least Kevin, you've seen the show Shogun. So imagine taking that cast and adding that script and that dialogue into a movie like this. That'd be so much fun. They'd be so good. And that's the only reason why, like, even though we still love it because it's a kaiju film and it's, you know, it's older, but, you know, you're looking at some of the more simpler script and dialogue between the characters, the samurai and everything. It's like you're like, oh wow, it's like pretty bland, but it's a product of its time. They weren't knowing how these films were going to do, and so unlike some of the samurai films we see during the Kurosawa era, like it's not the same. So, but again, I would love to see like if they took the first film and just reimagined it and like updated it with like a good cast, like from Shogun or even the guy from -1, like that would be so much fun. I think that would be amazing.
The
definitely concept is beautiful. The concept is amazing.
Like you say, imagine if they did like kept it in the same locations in the same time frame, like in the Joseon era, with these like you say with Shogun, with the magnificent background sceneries, the culture, the buildings, and then added modern effects. And you got a director who like the one who did -1 to do this. I think it'll be epic.
Yeah.
Epic.
Definitely.
So, Jake, you have mentioned that Daimajin did make another appearance in this particular movie. He made a cameo. So,
yes.
Dai still use the character, and I've just actually, while you were talking, I've actually looked something up which I'll talk to you about. So tell her about that particular movie, because I haven't seen it.
Oh man, it's so a young boy. Oh, let me grab it real quick. A young boy and some other people, they go to this grave. Well, they have this. Oh my god. They have like these pamphlets, but one of them is marked, and this young boy, this one right here, he ends up getting the one that's marked. Well, he ends up seeing all the ghouls, but he can only see them through one eye. So this one, I guess you could say demon type person, puts a leaf over his eye, and he's able to see all these characters. Well, he has to prove himself that he's worthy, so he ends up this character right here. She's a nine-tailed fox demon.
Is this live action or anime?
No, this is live action.
Just that when you look at the effects, I thought this was anime.
Yeah.
Nah. He comes at the very end of the film. Very tail end of the film, because the young boy proves himself. He wants to get his brother back because his brother gets kidnapped. And hello, Gigan and Godzilla.
Oh.
So, and believe it or not, it has two faces. It has that one, the angry face, and then it has another face where it's like spooked or scared. Yeah. But all in all, it's a pretty decent film. And since we're talking about, because you had mentioned something about a series, there is actually a Daimajin series.
Yes, I was going to bring it up. It is this one.
Yes, Daimajin Canon, I think.
Yes, and basically the first season, this is the thing, this is more like, I think, a kids program, because the first season is called, well, the show's called Daimajin Canon, and the first season apparently is a retelling of the first movie over 26 episodes, but it's set in modern Japan. So I don't know how that would work. And looking at the design, it looks nothing like, it doesn't look as fierce or scary as the original.
No, right. It wasn't bad, because I watched it on YouTube, or at least most of it on YouTube. And when it comes to life, it sings. I mean, you actually hear Daimajin talk. And
wow.
and it's singing a song, and I don't remember the song because it's been a long time since I watched it. But it ends up fighting this white ghoul demon type thing. But all in
So
all,
is it
it was
something like is it like something like Super Sentai, basically Power Rangers?
oh, I would say maybe, but it
Because
does
it's aimed at kids, isn't it? It's like a children's program.
Yeah.
in a way, yes. I mean, it does have little dark elements there, but all in all, the Daimajin doesn't come to life until like towards the end of the series, pretty much, because it's lost its will and stuff, from what I understood or what I can remember. But all in all, it was an all right series.
Mm-hmm. But I see. I think if they weren't gonna take the risk to do a live action movie, we've seen obviously Netflix. They've brought Gamera back with Rebirth. They've taken the risk with the Godzilla trilogy and Singular Point series. They also brought Ultraman in both an anime series for young adults and then the more kid friendly Gamera Uprising. I could definitely see them doing an animated film or series, even like an 8-part series, similar to something like the Blue Eye Samurai with Damaging. I think that would definitely work. But one more thing I'll bring up is this kaiju facing Godzilla in an animated comic book. This is called Gigi Jin. So he was inspired by Damaging. That was made by Marvel Comics. No, sorry, Dark Horse Comics.
Yeah.
Yep, I got it's called Age of Monsters. It's a complete compilation of like all the Dark Horse comics
Yeah,
that they've released.
there's 2 volumes. I got both volumes. In fact, I got one of the volumes when I was 10-year-old, and I've got a photo of us holding it somewhere. But yeah, so Damaging for me, he's got a long-lasting legacy for me. Everyone sees obviously the Godzilla franchise and the Gamera franchise are the 2 biggest franchises for kaiju. But I definitely think Damaging has his place.
Yep.
He
Yep.
might have only had 3 like Showa era type movies in the 1960s, but he's still around in some way, shape, or form thanks to that show that was made in 2020 and his appearance in the Guardians movie. Hopefully, someone will take a chance on him and he'll return. But anybody watching it, if you haven't checked out the movies, please do. Anubis has also mentioned that the first film, it's available on YouTube. The other 2 are available on Tubi, and that's exactly how I ended up watching them.
Yep.
So please do check them out and give them a watch and let me know if you have
your thoughts.
Yes, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and even after this stream's ended, watch them and comment on the comments below. But the next Kaiju Connections film is going to be The Magic Serpent. So another mystical kaiju-based film. Because next month, it wasn't planned, but next month on the entertainment headquarters is virtually the month of the samurai. Because we're doing the Akira Kurosawa special. Then on Cinematic Synergy with my good friend DJ Anubis, we're going to be doing Ronin. I think is it 47 Ronin we're doing?
No. We're doing Ip Man on that one.
Ip Man.
Or excuse me, no, Ip Man will be on Lone Wolf.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Was it who was doing 47 Run? Was it
yeah,
Anthony?
No, No, I think that was my pick, wasn't it? I can't remember.
For cinematic. Yeah, I don't remember. I have to go look.
Yeah, I
it
know.
might be,
I know. Yeah, because I know on Retro Classic, it's Passenger 47 with Wesley Snipes.
Yes. Let me see here. Yeah, Lone Wolf is Ip Man, and then I don't think I have cinematic done yet, but you might be right. No, cinematic. Okay, that's later down. It might be 47 Ronin. I have to double check.
Yeah, 47 Ronin, and hopefully if we can get it scheduled, me, my good friend DJ Anubis, and that fat samurai guy, hopefully if we can get together, we're going to be doing 11 Rebels, which I had a lot of fun with watching that one. But please check out the Metal Tavern Radio. There's a lot of great stuff there. There's great movie content. And if you like your heavy metal movie music, check it out. And as we see, Jake Hall is now the Kaiju Enigma. He's Enigma-fied. He's Kaiju-fied. And he's keeping, he's keeping that armband on for his love of kaiju. And as for me, there's plenty coming up, like I see on the entertainment headquarters. Just keep a lookout on the channel. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to the entertainment headquarters. The same with the Metal Tavern Radio. As always, keep loving your movies, keep loving all things entertainment, and keep the kaiju love alive.